Alright, let's put some makeup on my face with project pen items. I need to get ready again. I did drop off my son at daycare and I took a good long shower now. And I have to leave in about an hour, and for that I want to get ready again, which I figured it does make sense to maybe take you along and show you some products which are currently in my projects. So let's start with some primer. This is currently in my deck of panning rotation and I want to get it done. And I will squeeze everything out there. I won't cut it open. I don't like it that much. So I'm using this House Labs concealer, which is a tad too dark for me, I think, actually. But I'm using it actually as a color corrector because it has quite a peachy undertone. And I'm using this Huda Beauty Faux Filter concealer under my eyes. That one will last me until forever, probably. I don't know. And then I'm using this House Labs foundation, which is also a tad too dark for me. I'm obviously very good at shade matching myself. But I can make it work with a very light drop of this one, which is the lightest shade from the Fenty Hydrating Foundation, which is, I believe, discontinued. I like to leave my concealer sit for a bit. I will put up some eye primer, which is it's from Love. I think it's a discontinued brand, I don't know. That eye primer will probably also last me ever. I don't take a lot of product, it's just like a teeny tiny drop of it. But there was a pretty big air bubble in it, which like a few weeks ago went out, and now I can actually see some progress on that one, which is pretty satisfying, to be honest. To sum it up, two products are in my plan to pan. I don't have any plans on finishing these concealers because I'm super slow in finishing concealers. Why I won't take the effort to put it in any kind of project because I don't see any kind of progress here also. I was using this one constantly last year and I cannot see any kind of windowing or something like that. So yeah. And that one is actually in rotation since, like, I would say 3 months now, and I don't see any kind of windowing as well. So a no for finishing concealers for me this year. And yeah, as I said, the primer is in my deck of panning and also in my plan to pan actually for finishing it up this year, which probably won't be an issue. Let's go on with some cream products. This Franken bronzer is also part of my deck of panning. I just frankened it yesterday and I used it this morning already and I quite liked it. I do like the color pretty much and I'm very glad I do like the color. Otherwise it would have been very sad for all the products I have frankened in there. In my deck of panning intro, there is a little bit of that putty bronzer in the shade Feelin' Shady in there. There is like half of the cream bronzer from Makeup Revolution in there. In the shade Light. That was the main reason why I did franken that product, because that is way too orange for my liking. And I did also put in some red lipstick to make it a little bit more rosy, because I feel like it does suit my complexion a little bit more, because I have a cool undertone, I believe. And this is why I frankened that product. For contouring, I'm using the actual shade Feelin' Shady from e.l.f., which I depotted from that container into this one because I wanted to have the bigger component for the big Franken, and there was not that much left in it from the actual product, so this is why it's in that smaller container here now. I actually need to build that up quite a bit, which is good for panning, but I'm not sure if I would repurchase it. I think for the purpose of contouring, I do like stick formats better because they are just more convenient, I would say. And a cream blush we're going to use is actually leftover lipstick, which I'm using as a cream blush. I did have that also in rotation, and it's also on my plan to pan list actually, which this contour is also on my plan to pan list. And yeah, this is, as I said, a Franken of 2 lipsticks. And it's, not that much product left, but there is still some. So let's get it on my face. It's just a very red color. Not as clowny anymore, but I do like to also like tone everything down a little bit with like blending out the concealer. That is the base before setting it with powder. So this is going to be a mess. I hate the packaging, and to be honest, I also hate loose powder. I don't know. I have this one, like that pretty big container. I think it contains like 32 grams of product. I don't know if I will ever finish that. But I like the tone of it to set my under eyes. I don't like that, if it's even called a sifter, I don't know on there. If you have that product, you probably know what I'm talking about. I do have one other loose powder, and I actually tried to like make this one like just a little bit into a pressed powder, but that didn't work out. Like, no, it didn't work out, unfortunately, because I would love to have it as a pressed version. So a reminder to myself, if I have used up my loose powders, I won't be repurchasing one again because I just don't like them. It's too messy for my liking. And I also do not bake. So maybe it's just a me thing, but I don't like loose powders actually. I'm trying to always use what is left in the cap. Take it with a brush or with a powder puff, work it in a little bit, and then just slightly set my wrinkly under eyes and around my nose. Powder everywhere. Hate it. I might eventually use it up because I'm losing so much product on the way when I'm using it, but yeah. Using that Fenty Invisimatte, what is it called? I don't know, Invisimatte powder, whatever. it's in the shade Universal. I think it has kind of a lavender undertone, but I think she does have a lavender powder, doesn't she? Doesn't matter. I'm using that to set my face, and I really like that powder. I'm using this Kaleidos Mono Blush in the shade Hot Shot as bronzer. I do really enjoy it, and I don't know if you can see that dip. Like, you can see that there is almost, hopefully, side pan. So I'm working on that to actually hit pan in my winter capsule. But not sure if we're going to achieve that. It's a pretty powdery product, but yeah. I like the color very much because it is rosy. For blush, we're going in with also Kaleidos Mono Blush in the shade Angel Wing, which is a very light rosy shade. So I got these mono blushes secondhand actually. They were unused, but they were like $2 each, which is a steal price for them when you're living in Europe, I would say. So very glad I grabbed them. And for highlight, I will use my Nabla Ozone highlighter. That will also last me a lifetime, because as you saw, I only dip like once in it and then put it on the areas I want to highlight in my face, and that's it. Yeah. And that product, like, it's a baked product, and it has 6.5 grams. Like, I saw on Instagram a lot of, like, not a lot of people, but there are people who are actually able to finish that, like, highlight. I don't know, that will never happen to me probably, but it's fine. Okay, so this is how the base is looking. Let's go for some lips. I did decide to use my NYX lip liner in the shade Cherry Skies, which is a beautiful purple. I do have still a stain from like swatching it yesterday here. But yeah, I want to pair it with another lip liner, which is actually my plan to pan. This is part of my deck of panning. And this lip gloss here is also part of my plan to pan. So these three will be the lip combination of today. Let's see how it turns out. I have not used them together so far. I think it didn't turn out too bad, and I hope it will actually fit to the eye look I'm planning, because I want to use my Level Up palette. So this is the palette I randomized for my first level of the project, Level Up, and I am planning to go for these purpley shades and my focus shade here. And I figured it does make sense to have like kind of a purpley lip for that one. So yeah, let's try and do something with it. Okay, so I like it pretty much. Let's do some mascara. I will wash my hands and then we can wrap up a little bit what I've used. I just wanted to wrap up the video and show you what ended up on my eyes. I think we covered everything from the base section, which is currently part of any project pan. And I did use, as I said, my Level Up palette for this eye look. I did put this rosy color here in the crease and deepen it up a little bit with the darker purple shade. I did rearrange it a bit so the shade names are not correct. I think it doesn't matter, does it? And then I ended up using this one, that lighter rosy color for my inner corner, and this one for the very outer corner, and that focus shade here on my whole lid. Because I didn't like this one then just to have it in my inner corner, I thought it's a little bit too dark and a little bit too rosy. I did end up putting that very nice sparkly shade on top, and I think it worked out quite well. I did also forget to do my brows on camera, but that's probably pretty boring anyways. I did use that shade for my brows actually from my focus palette. So this is my focus palette of 2026, not an actual Pan Lab palette, but a focus palette. And I did also use that darker shade here, so that grayish black in my brows. And what I also use for my crease look is actually this, the shade here in the Cool Trills palette, which is called Eternal. I do have a pretty big dip in there, pretty big dent going on. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me when getting ready. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in one of my next videos. Stay safe. Bye.